Good morning. And welcome, you snow-tipped, smiling, sensational UUers and friends. My name is Jane Rago, and I'll be serving as your worship associate today. And today's guest speaker is the Reverend Lori Hlaban. And from 2016 to 2024, Reverend Lori Hlaban has served as minister of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Beaufort, South Carolina. Reverend Hlaban previously served as the assistant minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church West in Brookfield, Wisconsin, so you're used to the snow. And before moving to the Low Country, Reverend Lori was a frequent pulpit guest at several lay-led congregations and enjoyed a busy freelance wedding ministry. She is now retired from regular parish ministry, and welcome, Reverend Lori. We are so delighted that you're with us today, coming out of retirement. Our worship, RE, and covenant theme this month is stories. Here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Savannah, we are working to build a diverse, multicultural, and beloved community. We celebrate the presence and participation of people of all races, genders, sexual orientations, abilities, and ethnic and national origins. So we warmly welcome you on YouTube and here in the sanctuary, whoever you know yourself to be and wherever you are on your journey. If you are visiting with us this morning and you'd like to introduce yourself, please rise or raise your hand and Mary will bring the microphone over. And we do have quite a few people on YouTube, so it's important that you do talk into the microphone. Thank you. Is there anybody on this side? Nope.
Hi, my name is Chloe Bauer. I've lived in Savannah for a couple of years. I do currently attend another church, but I thought I'd come and visit with you guys all today. So nice to meet you. I have 2 little girls if I come back, so there might be a couple little ones with me next time.
Hey, welcome. Is there anybody else on that side? Do we have any visitors on this side who would like to say hello? It's good to have all of you here with us. Please join us in Ron Hall after the service for a very special vegan potluck to celebrate the close of some of us who took the vegan challenge in January. You'll find Ron Hall in the building behind us by following the crowd or ask one of our ushers, Mary or Raven. So after the children's story and after the offering, we sing a short response, and the lyrics to that are printed in your order of service. There are 2 cards in the back of the pew in front of you to help us gather information for the good of our community. You can use the QR code on the Rainbow Chalice card to sign up for our newsletter and a welcome email from the Reverend Lisa. Or you can just fill out the card by hand. And the card with the red heart and the chalice is there to share a joy or a sorrow. If you fill out either of these cards, you can place them in the collection basket later on in the service. Okay, everybody hold on. We have a lot of announcements this morning. So, church announcements are emailed to members and friends every Tuesday and Friday, so check your emails for more details, okay? Importantly and joyfully, the choir will be back next Sunday. Yay! Our All About the Unitarian Universalist Church of Savannah class can answer any questions you have about this congregation and UUism in general, and there will be snacks. And this class will be held on Tuesday, this Tuesday, January 28th, from 6 to 8-ish in Ron Hall. On January 31st, we are launching Cakes, Cookies, and Conversation, so bring a dessert. This will be the last Friday of every month from 7 to 9 in Ron Hall. All are welcome, and children too. Please make plans to attend the Deborah Reinstra lecture, which is this February 1st, which is Saturday. It will be held in the sanctuary from 10 to noon, and then a social gathering in Ron Hall afterwards. Dr. Reinstra will speak live via Zoom on ecological civilization and the gifts of faith community. And there's a lot more information in the insert and also on your email. There are 2 WRUU shows coming up this week that are of particular interest. Dr. Reinstra is going to do an interview on the Old Savannah Magic, which is 4 p.m. on Wednesday. And James Wood, who is our local FEMA guy, will update us on how to continue to get help from Hurricane Helene and give us information on the uncertain status of FEMA moving forward. That is at 11 a.m. this Tuesday. Both are on WRUU. The Music Alliance welcomes jazz pianist Asaf Gleisner, accompanied by violinist Ricardo Ochoa and vocalist Liz Gray and Tegan Miller in our next concert, which is February 16th at 3 p.m., and tickets are on sale at Eventbrite. That's it for announcements today. Okay. As we light our chalice, a symbol of Unitarian Universalist ways in the world, we enter into sacred time today. Our chalice lighter this morning is Lily Hutto, and our chalice lighting words come from David Breeden. We tender this flame, opening the book, turning to a page yet to be written, opening a story yet to be told. May we fill this fresh page wisely. May we write a new story into being. May we together inscribe the page with hope.
Good morning. It is so good to be with you again. Our call to worship words come from the Reverend Lindsay Bates. Come, let us open our minds to the challenge of reason. Open our hearts to the healing of love. Open our lives to the calling of conscience. Open our souls to the comfort of joy. Astonished by the miracle of life, grateful for the gift of fellowship, confident in the power of living faith, we are here gathered together. Come, let us worship together. And now if you would rise in body or spirit or any other way that you do, and join in our opening hymn, number 38, Morning Has Broken.
It's now time for our story of all ages. All children, young and old, can come up.
Just a sec. Hey Wyatt, will you come help me? I don't know if you can do it with gloves. Can you push that so it's... Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay. Thanks, Wyatt. Okay. Our book is called The 3 Questions. There was once a boy named Nikolai who sometimes felt uncertain about the right way to act. I want to be a good person, he told his friends, but I don't always know the best way to do that. Nikolai's friends understood, and they wanted to help him. If only I could find the answers to my 3 questions, Nikolai continued, then I would always know what to do. What is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? What is the right thing to do? Nikolai's friends considered his first question. Then Sonia, the heron, spoke. You know the best time to do things. One must plan in advance, she said. Gogol, the monkey, who had been rooting through some leaves to find something good to eat, said, you will know when to do things if you watch and pay close attention. Then Pushkin, the dog, who was just dozing off, rolled over and said, you can't pay attention to everything yourself. You need a pack to keep watch and help you decide when to do things. For example, Gogol, a coconut is about to fall on your head. Nikolai thought for a moment. Then he asked his second question. Who is the most important one? Those who are closest to heaven, said Sonia, circling up into the sky. Those who know how to heal the sick, said Gogol, stroking his bruised noggin. Those who make the rules, growled Pushkin. Nikolai thought some more. Then he asked the third question. What is the right thing to do? Flying, said Sonia. Having fun all the time, laughed Gogol. Fighting, barked Pushkin right away. The boy thought for a long while. He loved his friends. He knew they were all trying their best to help him answer his questions, but their answers didn't seem quite right. Then an idea came to him. I know, he thought. I will ask Leo, the turtle. He has lived a very long time. Surely he will know the answers I am looking for. Nikolai hiked high up into the mountains where the old turtle lived all alone. When Nikolai arrived, he found Leo digging a garden. The turtle was old, and digging was hard for him. Thomas. I have 3 questions, and I came to ask your help, Nikolai said. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? What is the right thing to do? Leo listened carefully, but he only smiled. Then he went on with his digging. You must be tired, Nikolai said at last. Let me help you. The turtle gave him his shovel and thanked him. And because it was easier for a young boy to dig than it was for an old turtle, Nikolai kept on digging until the rows were finished. But just as he finished, the wind blew wildly and rain burst from darkened clouds. As they moved toward the cottage for shelter, Nikolai suddenly heard a cry for help. Running down the path, he found a panda whose leg had been injured by a fallen tree. Carefully, Nikolai carried her into Leo's house and made a splint for her leg with the stick of bamboo. The storm raged on, banging at the doors and windows. The panda woke up. Where am I? She asked. And where is my child? The boy ran out of the cottage and down the path. The roar of the storm was deafening. Pushing against the howling wind and drenching rain, he ran further into the forest. Then he found the panda's child, cold and shivering, on the ground. The little panda was wet and scared, but alive. Nikolai carried her inside and made her warm and dry. Then he laid her in her mother's arms. Leo smiled when he saw what the boy had done. The next morning, the sun was warm, birds sang, and all was well with the world. The panda's leg was healing nicely, and she thanked Nikolai for saving her and the baby from the storm. At that moment, Sonia, Gogol, and Pushkin arrived to make sure everyone was all right. Nikolai felt great peace within himself. He had wonderful friends. He had saved the panda and her child, but he also felt disappointed. He still had not found the answers to his 3 questions. He asked Leo one more time. The old turtle looked at the boy. "But your questions have been answered," he said. "They have?" asked the boy. "Yesterday, if you had not stayed to help me dig my garden, you wouldn't have heard the panda's cries for help in the storm. Therefore, the most important time was the time you spent digging the garden. The most important one at that moment was me, and the most important thing to do was to help me with my garden. Later, when you found the injured panda, the most important time was the time you spent mending her leg and saving her child. The most important ones were the panda and her baby, and the most important thing to do was take care of them and make them safe." Remember then that there is only one important time, and that time is now. The most important one is always the one you are with. And the most important thing to do is good for the one who is standing at your side. For these, my dear boy, are the answers to what is most important in this world. That is why we are here. Let's go have some important time together upstairs, huh? Thanks for listening.
This Sunday is our Share the Plate Sunday, and so we are thrilled to have Dr. Danielle Pilgrim, who is here representing JUST, which is Justice Unites Savannah Together. So Dr. Pilgrim, if you'd like to come up and say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be here with you. This is my second time in a week being here. I was here on Monday. It was so awesome. If you missed it, you missed out on a really good program. So make sure you're here next year. As you heard, I'm from Justice Unite Savannah Together. And I want to begin with a quick question. I only have 30 seconds, and I've already used 20 seconds, so I'm going to go faster. I want to ask you a quick question. How many of you noticed inequities or injustice in your community, and you really want to do something about it? By a show of hands. Yeah, I think that's all of us. If you lived in Savannah long enough, Savannah, Chatham County long enough, you'll notice there's a lot of disparities and inequities all around us. And not just in this county, in every state, there are inequities. And as a person of faith, sometimes you wonder, like, can I do something about it, right? I often wonder, like, can I influence change? Or, is praying enough? Is, charity enough? Those are the questions you often ask yourself. And today I'm here to share with you that there is more that you can do along with charity and along with prayer, that you can participate in advocacy so that you can see changes that you would like in your community. So JUST is an organization, a coalition of people from different faith groups all across Savannah, Chatham County. And we realize that standing on the sidelines and talking about issues is not enough, that just praying about it is not enough. We want to see some changes, even if it's incremental change, we want to be a part of that. And so when we look at community issues, we say to ourselves, what can we do about this? How can we influence change? And through surveys, through research, and through advocacy, we've been able to make some incremental changes here in Savannah County. And because I've only have 10 seconds, I'll tell you a few of it, and then you can talk to me after so you can hear more. But when we looked at affordable housing, you know that 40% of residents in Chatham County are cost burdened, which means they spend more than 30% of their income on housing. Or in areas like school literacy, in 2022, a study showed that only 34% of students in Chatham County could read at grade level in elementary school. Or in mental health, Savannah Chatham County is designated as a mental health professional shortage area, which means that there's only one clinician to 522 residents. That's the ratio, when it should be 1 to 250. Or there's a wait list of 6 months to see a clinician when it should be 30 days, right? So these are inequities that we see, and we say, what can we do about it? And so with affordable housing, we've had 2 campaigns so far. One is we have influenced the city of Savannah to put $9 million into the Savannah Trust Fund, which helps people with down payments for homes, or if you want to do repairs, or to increase the affordable housing units in Savannah, which was a major success because they've only done 150,000 per year. So 9 million in 2 years was a fantastic impact. And when it comes to school literacy, we were able to influence the board to hire a superintendent who would champion the Science of Reading program. And she has hired a literacy officer to impact change in that way. And so there have been multiple areas of success that we've had, incremental change, that people of faith who sat down and said, what can we do to influence some type of change in our community, and have been able to do. And so I wanted to just share what we've been doing in our community. Many of you have been a part of that. We're working on a mental health access to mental health care in Savannah, and we hope to make some changes there. And so we hope that you can be a part of this, whether it's by participating in research or funding, or just even coming to our events and showing support. However you can, know that you can create change right here in your community. Thank you.
You can also donate via our QR code on the back of the order of service, and your offerings will gratefully be received. As a community, we share all of our joys and sorrows together. Today, we have a sorrow from Susan Daggett. My daughter, Kylan, has been suffering from a prolonged sickle cell crisis since before Christmas. We'll send our energy. We also have a joy today from Judy Gautier. We are so grateful to the people who answered the last-minute call from Family Promise to donate food to families during the week of ice and snow. And also a thank you to the brave souls who marched in the MLK parade on such a cold day to honor the memory of Dr. Martin's groundbreaking work. Thank you. We have a concern from Jeannie Ashmore. Linda Holtzlander, our neighbor in Maine, is pending cancer surgery. And a joy, thank you for the heartfelt MLK Day on Monday. I think we can all echo that. We hold all of our joys and sorrows, spoken and unspoken, in our hearts. Please join in the litany found in your order of service. Sorrow is everywhere, yet joy is reborn. As we mourn together, so we celebrate together and offer thanks that we are not alone. So may it be now and in all the days to come.
I don't play guitar as often as I used to, not nearly as much. With our choir on a break today, I thought we could be a congregational choir if you're willing to sing with me. When I sing in, when I breathe in, when I breathe in, I'll breathe in love. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out peace. Sing with me. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in love. I'll breathe in love. When I breathe out peace. I'll breathe out peace. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in love. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out peace. Here we go. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in love. When I breathe out, when I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. Here we go. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Here, just sing with me. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Now you keep it up. Breathe out. When I breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Keep it up. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, I breathe in out. together. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Soft. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
Well, as I said before, it is so good to be with you again. I was grateful for the invitation from Reverend Lisa to come and fill in for her today. Our words for meditation today are from Scott Taylor. Who dreamed you into being? What stories sat in their heart as they imagined what you would become? Who helped you imagine your story? Who helped you see your place in the world? And what matters most, who helped you understand that you could be the author of your own unfolding? All of which is a way of asking, who listened? Who listened until you could hear yourself speak, until you trusted the voice that is your own? And what about those stories of others? Those kept in cramped spaces of silence for fear of how hard and narrow this world of ours can be. Who? But really, it's about love. It is through affection that our stories are born. They are wooed into the world. Never forget that. Nor this. It is through loving the stories that we discover they love us back. Amen. Our first reading this morning is titled Knowledge, They Say, by Arthur Noyes. Knowledge, they say, drives wonder from the world. They say it still, though all the dust is ablaze with marvels at their feet, while Newton's laws foretell that knowledge one day shall be song. We seem like children wandering by the shore, gathering pebbles colored by the wave, while the great sea of truth from sky to sky stretches before us, boundless and unexplored. Here ends our first reading. You might notice I've split the sermon into two pieces. That's because the first part is kind of different from the second, and so I do things differently. In his book, The Truth About Stories, Thomas King says, the truth about stories is that stories is all that we are. Stories is all that we are. We are all the stories that we tell about ourselves, the story of our gender, the story of our family, the story of where we came from and where we are now and what it all means. Expand that to a community and a culture and a country and a world. Stories are all that we are. Stories are how we learn about ourselves and our world. And we Unitarian Universalists don't have what's called a lectionary, a schedule of scriptures to be read every Sunday. But there are some stories that many of us have heard repeatedly. Here's one that you may have heard either here or somewhere else, and it's known as the two wolves story. As it goes, An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. "A fight is going on inside me," he says to the boy. "It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger and envy and sorrow and regret and greed and arrogance and self-pity and guilt and resentment and lies and false pride and superiority and ego." He continues, "The other is good. He is joy and peace and love and hope and serenity and humility and kindness and empathy and generosity and truth and compassion and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every person here." Well, the grandson thought about it for a minute, and then he asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" And the old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." How many people have heard this story before? Somewhere. That's not the original version. The original version featured an Eskimo, and that's not a good word to say, fisherman with two dogs, one white and one black, which fought upon command. And the one that won was always the one who was fed. Anybody heard that version? My husband, of course. Now, I need to tell you that this story doesn't originate with the Inuit, nor does it originate with the Cherokee or any other First Peoples tribe. It was first published in 1978 in a book titled "The Holy Spirit, Activating God's Power in Your Life" by, any guesses? Billy Graham. So it's a made-up parable by a white evangelical Christian and transformed over time into a so-called Cherokee tale. And it's not the only one. Anybody been to a wedding that used the Apache wedding blessing? That's originally from a Western movie starring Jimmy Stewart. Now, some of you may be thinking, so what? What does it matter if the story has a good message? It does matter. Essentially, the misattribution of Euro-American created material to First Peoples cultures is straight-up colonialism, pure and simple. Straight-up colonialism. In her blog, the name of which I cannot pronounce, Canadian Métis linguist Chelsea Vowell writes that misattributed stories do three things. They erase or perpetuate ignorance about First Peoples' real cultures. They confuse both non-natives and some natives who are disconnected from their culture. And three, they silence the real voices of First Peoples storytellers and traditions. They silence the real stories. Where our stories really come from matters. And here we come to the break in the sermon, and I've gotten warm, so I'm taking my sweater off. I'll invite you to remain seated and sing through once, hymn number 391, Voice Still and Small.
I hear you call, sing.
Our second reading is from the author Stephen King. Censorship and the suppression of reading materials are rarely about family values and almost always about control, about who is snapping the whip, who is saying no, and who is saying go. Censorship's bottom line is this: if the novel Christine offends me, I don't want to just make sure it's kept from my kid. I want to make sure it's kept from your kid, and your kid, and your kid as well, and all of the kids. This bit of intellectual arrogance, undemocratic and as old as time, is best expressed this way: if it's bad for me and my family, it's bad for everyone's family. Here ends the reading. I happen to notice in your order of service that you have a banned books group. Yay! I'm sure many of you are aware then of the banning of books in school districts. And you've heard of the ironically named Moms for Liberty, which has been labeled as an extremist hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. And have you wondered what constitutes a book ban? Well, PEN America, which is a writers group promoting intellectual freedom, and the American Library Association both say that a ban happens when a previously accessible book is removed from availability. So a book that you were able to check out yesterday gets pulled from the library. Nobody can get it. Now bear in mind that school libraries and classroom book collections are carefully curated by professional teachers and librarians who consider and weigh each book's value for students by considering the whole book. Book bans occur when these professionals' choices are overridden on the basis of something in the book's content. So I was asked to tell you something about what we went through in my community, Beaufort County, South Carolina. In late 2022, a person brought a list of 97 books that he demanded the Beaufort School District pull out of schools, libraries, and classrooms, or he threatened to swear out a warrant to have the members of the board arrested for purveying pornography to minors. To their discredit, the board did what he asked. However, a group of students and adult citizens pushed back. The students were primarily members of a group called DALO, and that stands for Diversity Awareness Youth Literacy Organization. DALO is an extracurricular voluntary book group which at the time had chapters at 3 high schools in Beaufort County. It now has chapters in more of the high schools, one at USCB, and a few other schools in South Carolina. The citizens, adult citizens, organized into a group called FAB, or Families Against Book Bans, and I am proud to be a member of FAB, and one of the citizens who spoke out repeatedly at school board meetings demanding that the school board follow their own district policy with regard to requests to remove books. What was the policy? Well, policy dictated that a community review panel should be convened to read, discuss, and bring a recommendation to the board on whether to remove a book. It took over a year, but the board convened panels on every single book and agreed with the recommendations of the panels in every instance. In the end, 5 books were removed from Beaufort County schools out of 97, including the most banned book in America, 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult. Now, generally, book banners focus on sexual content, even if it's only a paragraph and not central to the story. For example, John Green's Looking for Alaska, which is the second most banned book in America, has 1 sexual encounter in it. And as he has said, it's written very clinically because it's shown that these people don't know each other. And on the next page, he says, that's the hotter thing, just two people kissing. But that's what they focus on, is that one page. One person in Beaufort would literally come to meetings and report how many profane words were in each book. So X number of the F-bomb, X number of the B word, and so forth. Most books that were targeted had an overall theme that justified their content. For example, the theme of Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us, which was recently a movie, I guess, also banned in Beaufort, is about breaking the generational cycle of family abuse. And 19 Minutes is about the aftermath of a school shooting and its effect on everyone from the shooter to the victims. Now, we FAB members hoped that when those reviews were done, it would be the end, but no. The South Carolina Department of Education has created a new rule where any citizen in any school district can request that up to 4 books per month be removed from all schools in the state. One of our local book banners is now systematically bringing requests to the department, and the department has in fact banned 8 books statewide to date. I understand that there were people challenging books here in the Savannah School District too, and I don't know how far that's gone. You can fill me in later. I can tell you though that along with all of the other chaos happening right now everywhere, people are doubling down on book bans. In South Carolina, there's a bill in the legislature to require libraries to not have books with any sexual content at all available to children. Think about that. It includes science books that have anything about reproduction or sex education. Across the country, legislation is being proposed along these lines, as well as restricting state funding or criminalizing librarians who include books with certain content in their collections for children, middle readers, or young adults. Mostly including books about LGBTQ characters or books about African American history. So why does any of this matter? When I was in high school, I worked for one summer at the Wisconsin School for the Deaf, which was a boarding and day school. Mostly I worked in the library that summer, and we were processing in a number of books about deaf professionals. I noticed this, and the librarian told me that the previous semester, she had found a student in the library one day crying. When she asked him what was going on, he basically told her that he didn't know what was going to happen to him after he graduated. The only deaf grown-ups he had ever seen were people at the school. He didn't know what happened after high school. The librarian realized the only book she had about a deaf person was about the founder of Gallaudet College for the Deaf, and made it her business to find more books about real deaf people. Well, in Beaufort, I can tell you that 24% of the books that were challenged were written by non-white authors, fiction and nonfiction. 19% had non-white characters, and 30% had characters who were LGBTQ+. Think about why that might matter. Someone in one of those schools needs to read It Ends With Us, to know that one can break the cycle of family violence. Someone in one of those schools needs to read All Boys Aren't Blue, to know that they're not the only gay person in the world, and especially not the only gay black person in the world. Someone in the school needs to read Melissa by Alex Gino to know that they're not the only transgender person in the world. And someone needs to read Beautiful by Amy Reed to know that you can overcome peer pressure. Stories are all we are. They teach us about the world. I've seen this quote attributed to two different authors. Fairy tales are more than true, not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten. Now more than ever, we need all of our stories to tell us who we can be and to tell us that we can survive. Thank you. So may it be. I invite you now to rise in body or spirit once more for our closing hymn, which is number 295, Sing Out Praises for the Journey.
After we sing, refreshment music will be provided by our own Scott Alexander, Taylor, you're going to play guitar. I'll do that when you want to piano.
Benediction is words adapted from Aidan McCormick. We are the stories of reformers struggling for their voices to be heard. We are the stories of dissenters withstanding persecution. We are the long, ongoing story of overcoming racism and oppression in our churches and in our world. We are the story of working toward peace and out of war. We are the individual stories that fill our congregations. We are the story that each of us holds right now in our hearts. There is joy in the sharing of stories and the companionship on the journey. There is joy in working for what is just and right. Go forth, tell the stories, change the world.